PK52, the Saturday morning meeting. Last week, we talked about building a foundation. And the craziest thing about building a foundation is that where it stops? Because I look at all the trainers out there right now, and I look at the online presence. I mean, I want to stay in the know of what's going on in the training field, in automotive space and other spaces. And they're saying, build a great foundation, stay with the basics. And in my opinion, is most of the people that have quit the car business understood the basics, and they're out. They got into retail space and they understood the basics of how to clock in, how to clock out, and how to go through the motions of the basics, and they're no longer in the space. But the people that build that foundation, like I talked about, you're building a giant superstructure, a giant business, retail business, condo complex, doesn't matter. The foundation has to be super strong, has to be perfect, because you're going to stack on it. But the stack, every time you stack on stuff, your revenue opportunity goes up. Same way with any business you're in. Once you start to be able to stack onto that basic knowledge you have, then you become an entrepreneur. And I don't know if anybody's ever called you an entrepreneur before. Let me call you an entrepreneur. If you're in a space where you're providing a service and somebody sees you as the expert and a trustworthy person to do business with, you are an entrepreneur. So the level of that entrepreneurship that you achieve is completely up to you. I featured the new Trail Hunter Tacoma right here because it's just going to be a home run. It doesn't make any sense not to get in that overlanding space because it is growing so rapidly in the United States. People are getting off-grid. They're going off-road. Instead of taking a vacation that cost them $15,000 to $30,000 at a beach resort, they're going to way off dirt roads to a remote lake somewhere, putting up some camping stuff and just enjoying nature. No cell phones, no websites, no nothing other than absolute nature. And the more people that are introduced to this, the more people that are doing it. There's been multiple billions of dollars spent in the United States to rekindle trails and roads that the state had closed down. So ADV riders, the big motorcycle riders, and side-by-side riders are trekking on these places. People that use trucks like this are going back into remote areas and camping for a few days. And I got to be honest with you, you don't miss the other stuff. Courtney and I have started doing more of this. I'm not. I grew up where, a tent was a luxury, and I'm not a big tent camper, but I just went out a couple of weekends ago and camped for 4 or 5 days and, didn't get on my phone, didn't have any cell service, didn't have a TV, didn't turn the radio on or any music at all. And I was thoroughly entertained. And there was always something to do or something to see. So it's very interesting. That level of entrepreneurship is right there and it's waiting for you. It's not hidden. It's all about going at it. So I was talking to somebody in Arkansas, and the older gentleman, if I say older gentleman, it's older gentleman. And he used to go to the restaurant, the cafe, where John Tyson, the chicken guy, the chicken guy, y'all, Mr. Sam Walton, and J.B. Hunt, 3 billionaires used to meet each other every Saturday morning and have breakfast at this little small, individually mom and pop owned restaurant. And he used to go and eat at that same restaurant. I don't know, why would you not sit at the table right next to those 3 guys? In fact, they were probably talking about their families, hunting, fishing, the area and the growth, what's going on in the world and stuff. Who knows what they were talking about? But all 3 of these people saw a need. I've studied Mr. Walton. They called him Mr. Sam, and he was an incredible person. So he worked for Ben Franklin. Some of you never heard of the store. It's a little 5 and dime store, a little variety store. You could go in and get nearly everything there. And he started realizing that they were losing a lot of their profitability because they were ordering everything from a middleman, a broker, or from a warehousing situation. So he went to the owners of Ben Franklin as a middle manager, and he said, we have items that are so fast turning that we can't keep them on the shelf. As soon as they come in, they're sold out. We should market those ourselves and become our own middleman because there'd be no cost because it comes straight into our store, straight out of the store. We don't have to pay a third party. And they go, well, that's not the way it's done. And he couldn't believe what they said. He goes, let me show you mathematically what I'm talking about. And they just waved him off. So he left and he opened his own store. You probably know and heard of the store. It's called Walmart. And I don't know if Mr. Sam would enjoy going back into a 2024 Walmart right now and seeing how it's run. He used to have a rule, 6-foot rule. If you're in this, within 6 feet of a customer, a guest at a Walmart, you're supposed to stop and greet them and say, welcome to Walmart. Is there anything I can assist you with? Well, now they see you and they go to the other aisle. They try to avoid you. So he probably wouldn't really appreciate what's going on. But that 6-foot rule is so awesome. We know you're here and we're here to help you. He's an entrepreneur. J.B. Hunt realized that America was starting to grow and goods from the East Coast and the West Coast and around the world were in demand. And he thought, well, somebody's got to ship these. Let me open a trucking company and do it at a reasonable cost, which was passed on to the consumer. It didn't cost the vendor or the owner any more money. They just passed the cost on. And it became a giant trucking company. And Tyson's Chicken, if you've eaten chicken, you've eaten Tyson's Chicken. And it's crazy how gigantic that industry is. Every industry has the ability to be that gigantic. If there is a need, let me give you an example, a personal example. A lot of you know that I'm in the motorcycle space, and I will buy a motorcycle anywhere, anytime, any place, if the math is right on the motorcycle. If the math is right. If the motorcycle is worth X and they sell it for X and I see that I can ride that thing for maybe 6 months to a year and sell it for basically what I had in it, I'm in. And I think Courtney and I together are probably over 30 motorcycles purchased now. 30. And we don't own a motorcycle dealership. We're just 30 motorcycles. And we sold most of them. Currently she has 3. I have 2. And honestly, they're for sale. And I'll just buy another one. So I've gone to all these people that I bought motorcycles from. I bought some from individuals out of their garage, but a lot of times I bought them from retail space. I've met the salespeople. We've interacted. I gave them my money, and they know the type of person I am. So why doesn't, let's call him Bob. Why doesn't Bob, he just got a trade-in of a 3-year-old Ducati Multistrada. And he calls me up and said, Casey, I just got a Multistrada. It's only got 11,000 miles on it. It's 3 years old. One owner, know the guy, super guy. And I go, what is it? Is it a Pikes? And he goes, yeah, it's a Pikes Peak. And I said, well, what's the money? If the money's right, gang, I'm down there buying it right now. But they don't ever call me. They don't call me after the sale and thank me for my purchase or anything. Their end gate for their entrepreneurship was, I walked in, I saw the motorcycle online. I made a decision on the price before I ever came in. And they honestly think they sold me something. And I don't understand that. They didn't sell me anything. I came in to buy that motorcycle and I was going to work the price a little bit. Maybe they sold it to me because they had to go down in price. That's why they think they sold it to me. But they never called me back. And that they had multiple motorcycles that came through that dealership that were traded in that day. They could have called me on and I would have gone down there. If I was in town, I would have gone down and looked at it that day. I just bought a Ducati Desert X. It was a used bike with only 1,300 miles on it. I saw it online. In fact, I saw it the night they dropped it. The very first day it was online, I was at the dealership at 9 o'clock the next morning with the trade-in. And I traded a bike in, bought that bike. And nobody sold me that bike. But there was somebody there that had sold me a bike before that could have called me up and said, hey, Casey, I just got a Desert X in. I'd have been there. They didn't call me. How many opportunities are we missing? There's a lot of people that let me do a baseball analogy, gang. There's only 2 positions in baseball that are active all the time, pitcher, catcher. Everybody else could be inactive the whole game. And you know what? If you're on offense, you're going to bat. And so if the pitcher for the opposing team is having a tremendous day, you may only get to the plate twice, 3 to 4 times in a game. So you've waited all this time, you've batted 3 times, you were involved, and you played right field, and there was never a ball hit to the right field. They got a foul ball hit out there. You jogged over it, threw it in the crowd. That's what you did for the whole game. You batted 2 to 3 times, and you threw a ball to a fan in the stands. That's it. I don't know how anybody could play right field, ever, in a baseball game, because hey, what's up? Just wave the. What do you do out there? I know you're in a ready position. I know you're an athlete, but you're not involved. And that's kind of the way the business is of entrepreneurs right now. You're either a pitcher or catcher involved in every single play, and the game rests on your shoulder versus that communication in the entire 9 innings of the game, or you're in a defensive position and waiting for it to happen. I guess the best analogy is a baby bird waiting for mom to come back with a worm. And most of you that I know are in that situation because you've let yourself be there. All you have to do is step out. Let's do this. Let me give you an example in the automotive space. The next level automotive job in the automotive space is usually moving into the F&I office, so finance and insurance. And you need to be very intelligent. You need to be able to do the paperwork, protect the customer, protect the dealership. So there is a learning curve to learning that position. There's online F&I colleges where you can get an F&I degree for the automotive space, and you can pay for it yourself. You don't have to wait for the dealership to pay for it. You want to move to the next level, get a degree, get a certificate that you're F&I approved from an F&I school, and when that F&I position comes up, you go to the boss and say, I'm ready to go. They go, well, you only been here 6 months. I'm the only one that has the certification to move into the box right now. I've done the work. I've paid the money. This is my certification. You can verify it. I'm ready to go. You just put yourself in a management position because you stepped out and did that. And the funny thing about it is, even if that opportunity doesn't come, you've got better at the space that you're in because you learn more about the business. Now you're better for every single customer that walks in the dealership. Same with service or if you're in the space of human resources, it doesn't matter. There's always a next level. Never be satisfied. I don't think Mr. Sam was satisfied. I don't think John Tyson was satisfied. And I don't think his family I think they're still not satisfied. There's still more chickens to sell. And J.B. Hunt's got to move some of the chickens and furniture and goods all around America. I don't think their family is ever going to be satisfied because there's always another truckload. So my question to you is, are you going to wait for it to happen? Or are you going to choose this moment and go out and make it happen? PK52, the Saturday Morning Meeting.